Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon has come under fire for the new details coming out about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, newly unearthed documents from the DOJ are showing more conversations that the two had over text.
In 2018, Bannon appeared to suggest that President Trump, who was then in his first term, should be removed from office via the 25th Amendment, which would have made Mike Pence the president. The context of their conversation is not totally clear, but in the exchange, Epstein appears to say of Trump, he really is borderline not sure what he may do, and Bannon replies to that with, I think it's beyond borderline, 25th Amendment.
Republicans and Trump allies are sounding the alarm, with Trump's former security advisor, Michael Flynn, arguing that Bannon should give testimony before Congress. He writes on X, quote, "The White House, or at least DOJ, needs to come out and say what they plan on doing with this information." I remember all the 25th Amendment talk back in the first term. It was really ugly. If Bannon and Epstein were behind it, Bannon needs to be brought in for questioning, and he needs to address this and all other expletive he was doing on behalf of Epstein.
And former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene added to that, saying, "I agree completely. Steve Bannon went to jail for Trump. I was there. But back on January 1st, 2019, after Dems took the House, he was texting with Epstein about the 25th Amendment. Also, there's no excuse for having such a friendly relationship with Epstein post-conviction, 2018, 2019, none."
Now, Bannon was the chief strategist for the White House when President Trump was first inaugurated in 2017, but he left that role after less than a year on the job.
A few months ago, he made headlines for claiming that there is a plan among Trump's team for him to run and win a third term as president in 2028, telling The Economist Trump's going to be president in 28. People ought to just get accommodated with that, but the 22nd Amendment does prohibit anyone from serving more than 2 terms. So, again, with the usual disclaimer that there's no evidence of any criminal behavior, I do think Bannon's associations with Epstein is in a category where I put a couple people that looks very highly questionable.
Is it the timing for you that he was so close to 2019, or what is it about the frequency?
And
because this Hyatt guy that we talked about earlier was talking to him.
Okay, there's something different between taking an email that says, "Hey, can you get somebody a job?" and saying, "Send a resume." Is a little bit different than texting about political strategy with the guy at great length, relevant in a way to undermine Trump. It sounds like Bannon portrays himself as the ultimate Trump guy, more Trumpy than Trump. He was trying to have him ousted. What is this? Bannon is sloppy Steve, as Trump used to say, is trouble. Bannon is trouble. I think the honest brokers in MAGA know that he's really out for himself, and he's aligned with Trump if it serves his interests sometimes, not others. It was weird that he was pushing the Epstein stuff so much, given how close. This is closer than, again, just you emailed him once or he received an email from him. They were texting about strategy. That's political strategy. That's different. Again, it's still not criminal. I'm not saying he's a sex trafficker or that he could go to jail. No evidence of that. I just say it reflects badly on his political judgment, and thus I would not think we should still be listening to Steve in terms of what's best for America first, what's best for MAGA, what Trump should do. He should not be in the orbit of decision-making for the Trump movement. That's all. I think that's very clear based on the disclosures from the Epstein files.
So my personal judgments of Steve Bannon, who kept in touch with Epstein up until 2019 when he was already charged a second time, is that, the moral compass is not there. And so for me, that doesn't make sense, even past anybody who kept in touch with him right after 2008. Yeah. Maybe they were associates and didn't realize that he'd just gotten in trouble. But when you go all the way up to 2019, everyone knows what was going on. And so to take advice or give advice to Epstein, all in the name of some documentary, which we don't believe. I mean, I don't. So
it's scheming.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like they're trying to come up with some grand plan.
And scheming against Trump, which should be relevant to MAGA people, because that's the highest crime there is scheming to undermine Trump. He was scheming to undermine Trump with, yes, a convicted sexual predator and shady financial guy. He was talking to him, conspiring to undermine Trump. That seems like reason enough to unperson him.
Another question is, why does Epstein want to get Trump so bad? What's the motivation? Why does he want to get Trump so bad?
I think he was a never Trumpy by then. I think he didn't like it.
Okay, that's one reason, but we'll put a pin in that. Epstein says.
He's a resistance figure leader.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't like. He's a conventional liberal. He loves to associate with Harvard and fund academic projects, and he's a Harvard liberal at this point. He thinks Trump is evil and should be destroyed.
So back to Bannon, he wants to release the files until he's in them. So the fact that there was such an extreme push coming from Bannon,
I don't know what he thought was gonna
yeah, I don't know what he thought was going to happen when you keep in touch that closely. I really don't get it. And so this is somebody, no matter how much you want to dismiss them at this point, or were deeply entangled with the MAGA movement, still have a lot of people that follow the MAGA movement, following specifically his podcast and the things that he says, and maybe you can call it the fringes or however, but he still is considered a figure within the MAGA movement, no?
Yeah.
And even though his policies and a lot of things don't align, he pushes ideas forward that end up in the popular dialogue. So whether it's by other podcasters that make their way back to the president,
right.
he still
He's the
is
leader of the most populist faction of MAGA. Him and Elon Musk hate each other because Elon, wants less government regulation. Steve Bannon on economics is basically a Marxist. He's socially conservative, and he has an isolationist foreign policy or a on foreign policy, I don't really have a problem with him. I agree with him on a lot of foreign policy. On economic issues, he's a Marxist. He wants big companies broken up. He supports every kind of labor protection and regulation. He is not in step with the libertarian side of MAGA. So
you have to ask, are the people that watch him specifically just saying they're there for entertainment, or is this somebody who actually influences some thought that's coming through your mind in regards to politics, in regards to a lot of things, even with the call for releasing the Epstein files? Because this is somebody that we know his intentions don't seem like they align with.
I think Bannon fashions himself as like he's the ultimate political operator, spy master, like Game of Thrones. Like he's a Varys or a Littlefinger. Like he would never get caught up in it, right? Because he's always got 8 other contingency plans. He's Otto von Bismarck. He's negotiating and scheming with everyone to further his interests. Like that's what he sees himself as. So I'm not sure it would occur to him that it would damage him if it got out his correspondence with Epstein, because he sees nothing wrong with scheming. He was probably like, yeah, he might have some reason. I was, against Trump for that month for some reason, but then I was back. Who knows? It's plans within plans, wheels within wheels. It doesn't make sense to anyone but him. I think, I don't know. That's just my reading of Bannon, is that's how he sees himself, as the ultimate, consummate, Machiavellian style Game of Thrones operator person who's talking to everyone and pushing this person and trying to knock down this person to serve some agenda he thinks is best.
And with all the investigations that have come through this administration, from Pam Bondi's doing to the president vocally going on social media saying he people looked into, it would be interesting if we just skip over Steve Bannon knowing this new information, at least from Trump's purview, since he's decided to investigate so many other people.
Yeah, has Trump gone on a tirade against Bannon yet? Where's the
I don't see any. And then you wonder, why is he nervous to come at Bannon? Same reason he's nervous to come at Epstein. I mean, to come at
Fox yet, so Trump isn't aware of it.
Elon Musk.
I think
Trump seems like he has a certain fear of Elon Musk and maybe Bannon, and I wonder why. And they both are in the Epstein files.
I think he's afraid of. I mean, he's called Steve Sloppy Steve. He's gone off on Steve Bannon in the past. He's never really gone off on Elon.
I know.
He likes Elon, and he would like Republicans to continue being funded by Elon. So he's more careful about how he addresses the Elon situation than any other person on the planet, which I think is telling about the level of importance Elon has to him. And I think he liked him.
Now, ESPN analyst Stephen A. Smith says he's seriously considering running for president in 2028. We'll look at his comments from a recent interview up next.